Have you ever wished there was a mental code that could erase trauma in minutes? Louise Hay discovered such a code when she needed to heal her own past. And today, you'll learn exactly how she did it. Have you noticed how certain situations instantly transport you back to the past? It's like someone flipped a switch, and you're that hurt child again, that betrayed woman, that person who suffered something that never should have happened. And no matter how hard you try to forget, the trauma lingers, controlling your reactions, sabotaging your relationships, limiting your dreams. I know what it's like to carry this invisible pain, because I've been there, in that limbo between wanting to move forward and being utterly unable to leave the past behind. It feels like a part of you is trapped in that painful moment, and even as years go by, that part keeps bleeding internally. Louise Hay knew this pain better than anyone. She was raped at 5 years old by a neighbor, grew up in a dysfunctional family where she was beaten, humiliated, and rejected. She dropped out of school, ran away from home, and endured abusive relationships. If anyone had reason to be a bitter, traumatized person, it was her. But Louise did something that changed not only her life, but the lives of millions around the world. She discovered that trauma isn't a life sentence, that past pain doesn't have to dictate your future, that there's a way to rewire your mind to transform open wounds into scars of wisdom. And the most incredible part, she didn't discover this through therapy, medication, or years of analysis. She discovered it when she developed cervical cancer, and doctors gave her only months to live. It was in that moment of crisis that Louise realized something revolutionary. The cancer was located precisely where she'd been violated as a child. Her body was screaming a pain her mind had been trying to suppress for decades. And that's when she understood. Trauma isn't just memory. Trauma is trapped energy in the body. And if you don't release that energy, it finds a way out. Sometimes as depression, sometimes as anxiety, sometimes as illness. Louise decided she wasn't going to die carrying the pain of those who hurt her. She was going to heal. Completely. And that's how she developed what she called the mental reprogramming code. A method so powerful it not only cured her cancer, but transformed her entire life. The code works like this. Every trauma is incorrect information encoded in your mental system. It's as if someone hacked your mind and installed a virus, making you believe you're unlovable, undeserving of happiness, that the world is dangerous, that people will hurt you. And this mental virus runs automatically every time you encounter situations that resemble the original trauma. That's why you react with fear when you should react with love. That's why you self-sabotage when you're about to be happy. That's why you attract people who repeat the patterns of those who hurt you in the past. But Louise discovered you can delete this virus and install a new program. A program that reminds you who you truly are. A strong, capable woman, deserving of all the love and happiness in the world. The first step of the code is recognizing that trauma doesn't define you. Louise used to say, "You are not what happened to you. You are how you choose to respond to what happened to you." That phrase changed my life the first time I heard it. Because we grow up believing we're victims of our circumstances. That if we were rejected, we are rejectable. That if we were betrayed, we can't trust anyone. That if we were abandoned, we'll always be alone. But Louise showed that's an illusion. That trauma is something that happened to you, not something that you are. And that you have the power to reinterpret any experience from your past The second step is understanding that your mind doesn't distinguish between past and present when it comes to emotion. Therefore, when you remember the trauma, your body reacts as if it's happening now. Your heart races, your breathing quickens, your stomach churns. It's like you've gone back in time and are reliving everything again. But if your mind doesn't distinguish between past and present, that means you can use this mechanism to your advantage. You can create new, positive, healing memories, and your mind will accept them as real. Because to the subconscious, vivid imagination is just as real as lived experience. Louise used this principle to heal completely. She created a technique where she talked to the inner wounded child, not to relive the pain, but to rewrite the story, to give that child what she needed to receive back then: love, protection, validation, care. And something magical happened. Every time she did this process, she felt a part of the pain dissolving, as if she were removing thorns embedded in her heart for decades. With each session, she felt lighter, freer, more whole. The third step of the code is forgiveness, but not the forgiveness everyone preaches. It's not forgiving because the person deserves it. It's not forgiving to be nice. It's forgiving to free yourself from the emotional prison you built. Louise said, "Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about you. When you forgive, you're taking away the power that person has over your life. You're saying, 'I will no longer allow those who hurt me to control my feelings.'" She discovered that resentment is like drinking poison, hoping the other person will die. You're corroding yourself from the inside, while the person who hurt you moves on with their life. The hate you feel doesn't affect the one who hurt you. It only affects you. But when you forgive, you're not condoning the person's behavior. You're absolving yourself of the need to carry that pain forever. You're choosing your emotional freedom over your need to be right about how much you were hurt. Louise had a specific technique for this, which she called the release letter. She would write a letter to whoever had hurt her, saying everything she needed to say, all the anger, all the pain, all the resentment. She put it on paper, without filters, without politeness, without mercy. And then she wrote a second letter, a letter of forgiveness, not because the person deserved it, but because she deserved to be free. In this letter, she declared that she was releasing all that pain, that she wouldn't carry the burden of what happened anymore, that she was returning to the universe the responsibility of doing justice. And then she burned both letters. And as she watched the paper turn to ashes, she felt something dissolving inside her too. It was as if she were literally burning the chains that bound her to the past. The fourth step is active reprogramming. Louise Hay discovered that simply deleting painful memories isn't enough. You need to install new memories in their place. You need to create a new narrative about who you are and what you deserve. She developed what she called reconstruction affirmations, specific phrases that reprogram the subconscious to believe in a new version of your story. Instead of, "I always suffer," you program, "I always heal." Instead of, "Nobody loves me," you install, "I am deeply loved." Instead of, "I'm unlucky," you engrave, "Life conspires in my favor." But it's not just about repeating phrases like a parrot. Louise taught a specific technique that multiplies the power of affirmations. You speak while looking in the mirror, hands on your heart, as if making a sacred promise to yourself. And something incredible happens. In the beginning, you don't believe what you're saying. Your critical mind screams that it's a lie, that you're deceiving yourself. But if you persist after a few weeks, something changes. The words begin to sound less strange. They begin to make sense. And one day, you look in the mirror and truly believe what you're saying. Louise said this is the moment of healing. When you stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as a survivor. When you stop focusing on what you lost and begin to celebrate what you gained from the experience. When you realize that your pain can be transformed into purpose. The fifth step is integration. Louise discovered that healing isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about remembering without pain. It's about being able to tell your story without it bringing you down. It's about transforming your wound into a source of wisdom and compassion. She used to say, "Your scars are proof that you are stronger than anything that tried to destroy you. Don't hide them. Honor them. They are war medals you earned fighting for your own life." And that's what Louise did. She transformed her traumas into fuel to help millions of people around the world. She used her pain as a bridge to reach other people who were suffering the same wounds. She proved that it's possible not only to survive trauma, but to thrive because of it. Louise's complete code worked because it attacked trauma on all dimensions: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. She wasn't just trying to think positive or pretend nothing happened. She was doing a deep cleansing, a complete reprogramming, a total reconstruction of her identity. And the results were impressive. Not only did the cancer disappear completely, but she became one of the most influential women in the global self-help movement. She created a publishing house that published dozens of authors who changed millions of lives. She lived to be 90 years old, radiating love, peace, and wisdom. But most importantly, Louise proved that trauma can be transformed, that pain can become healing, that wounds can become strength, and that anyone, no matter what they've been through, can use the same code to free themselves from their own past. The technique I'm going to teach you now is based exactly on the method Louise used to heal herself. It's a process she refined over decades, and that works for any type of trauma. From childhood wounds to recent losses, from relationship traumas to traumas of rejection. The important thing is to understand that you don't have to be a prisoner of what happened to you. You have the power to rewrite your story, to transform your scars into stars, to use your pain as a springboard to an extraordinary life. Louise always said, "The past has no power over you unless you allow it. And today, you can choose not to allow it anymore." Now I'm going to teach you the exact method Louise Hay used to delete her traumas and install new mental programming. It's a process she called emotional surgery without a scalpel, and it changed not only her life, but the lives of everyone who applied this technique. The method has 5 steps that must be followed in this order. Louise discovered that skipping a step or doing them out of sequence drastically reduces the effectiveness of the process. It's like trying to delete a computer file without having the administrator password. It doesn't work. First step, locating the original trauma. Louise realized that most people try to heal the symptoms of trauma without going to the root. It's like trying to cure an infection by only treating the fever. As long as you don't eliminate the bacteria, the fever will keep coming back. 2. Locate the original trauma. You need to ask a specific question. When was the first time I felt this way? If you have a fear of abandonment, when was the first time you felt abandoned? If you have difficulty trusting, when was the first time you felt betrayed? If you feel unworthy of love, when was the first time you felt rejected? Louise taught that our minds keep everything. Each experience is filed somewhere in the subconscious, and usually, The deepest traumas of adulthood are echoes of wounds that happened in childhood. It's as if that first painful experience created a mold, and all similar experiences afterward fit into the same pattern. When you find that first memory, you find the root of the problem, and that's where true healing can begin. Second step, neutralizing the emotional charge. Louise discovered that you can't reprogram a memory while it's still charged with intense emotion. It's like trying to rewrite a file that's being used by another program. The system doesn't allow it. So she developed a technique she called dissolution breathing. You go back to that painful memory, but instead of reliving the emotion, you breathe through it. You inhale love and exhale pain. Inhale peace and exhale anger. Inhale forgiveness and exhale resentment. It's not about denying what happened. It's not about minimizing the pain. It's about dissolving the emotional charge that keeps you bound to that experience. Louise used to say, when you stop feeding a wound with anger, it can finally heal. The process works like this. You close your eyes, go back to that first painful memory, and instead of running away from the pain, you breathe through it. You allow the emotion to flow through your body without resisting, without judging, without trying to change it. Just breathe and let it pass, and something incredible happens. The pain that seemed enormous, unbearable, eternal, begins to diminish, as if you were draining a lake of suffering one drop at a time, until eventually you can remember what happened without it emotionally bringing you down. Third step, rewriting the internal narrative. Here's the secret that Louise discovered and that very few people know. Your mind tells itself a story about every experience you live, and the story it tells determines how you feel about that experience. If your mind tells you, I was abandoned because I'm not good enough, you'll feel unworthy forever. But if it says, I went through a difficult experience that taught me to value people who truly love me, your entire relationship with that memory changes. Louise Hay taught that you can rewrite any story. You are the author of your own internal narrative. And if you don't like the story you're living, you can start a new chapter at any time. Her technique was to sit down with pen and paper and write two versions of the same story. First, the victim version. This happened to me, and it destroyed me. Then, the hero version. This happened, and it strengthened me in ways I never imagined. And then she would burn the victim version and keep the hero version. She would read this new version every day until it became more real than the old version, until her mind completely accepted this new narrative as truth. Louise Hay said, you can't change what happened, but you can completely change the meaning you give to what happened. And when you change the meaning, you change your entire life. Step 4. Installing new programming. After deleting the old programming, you need to install a new one. Otherwise, your mind will keep running empty, trying to process experiences with outdated software. Louise Hay created what she called cellular reconstruction affirmations. These weren't ordinary affirmations. They were specific commands directed to the subconscious to install new beliefs about who you are and what you deserve. The technique works like this. You stand in front of a mirror. Place both hands on your heart, look directly into your own eyes, and speak with authority, as if you were giving an order to your own soul. I completely release all past pain. I am free. I am loved. I am enough. I deserve all the good things in life. My past does not define my future. I choose love instead of fear. I choose peace instead of pain. I am a powerful, wise woman capable of creating the life I desire. Louise Hay discovered that speaking into the mirror multiplies the power of affirmations because you are literally reprogramming your self-image. You are speaking directly to the person who needs to hear these words the most, yourself. And you have to do it every day for at least 21 consecutive days, because that's what it takes to create new neural pathways in the brain, for your mind to accept this new programming as true. In the beginning, it will seem strange. Your critical mind will resist. It will say you're lying to yourself. But Louise Hay taught, persistence is more powerful than resistance. If you keep installing the new programming, eventually it will overwrite the old one. Step 5. Anchoring the new identity. This is the step that most people skip, and that's why they can't maintain the transformation. Louise Hay discovered that it's not enough to change your thoughts. You need to anchor the new identity in your body, your emotions, your behaviors. She developed a technique she called the rebirth ritual. You choose a symbolic object that represents your new identity. It could be a jewel, a stone, a photo, anything that has meaning for you. Every day, you hold this object and connect with the feeling of being this new version of yourself. You imagine how she walks, how she speaks, how she relates to other people, how she reacts to challenges. You literally rehearse being this new person until it becomes natural. Louise Hay did this religiously. She had a necklace she wore as an anchor of her new identity. Every time she touched that necklace, she remembered who she had chosen to be, a free, powerful woman, full of self-love, and it worked. Over time, she no longer needed to consciously think about acting differently. The new programming had become automatic. She had literally become a new person. But Louise Hay discovered something even more powerful. That complete healing happens when you use your transformed pain experience to help other people, when you turn your scar into a guiding star for those still lost in the darkness. That's what she did. She transformed her childhood traumas into wisdom to heal millions of people. She used her experience with cancer to prove that it's possible to heal from anything. She transformed her pain into purpose and her wound into a source of healing for the world. Louise Hay always said, "Your greatest wound can become your greatest strength. Your deepest trauma can transform into your greatest gift. Don't waste your pain. Use it to heal yourself and then help other people heal too." And that's what happens when you apply the complete method. You don't just heal. You become an agent of healing. You become someone who radiates peace instead of pain, love instead of fear, hope instead of despair. Louise Hay lived to be 90 years old as living proof that it's possible to completely reinvent yourself, that it doesn't matter what happened to you in the past, that it doesn't matter how many years you wasted being a victim of your own wounds, that you can start again at any time. She used to say, "You have two choices in life. You can use your experiences as excuses for not being happy, or you can use them as steps to achieve a happiness you never imagined possible." The method I've taught you today is not theory. It's tested and proven emotional technology. Louise Hay not only cured her own cancer using these techniques, but helped thousands of people heal from traumas they had carried for decades. But there's one thing Louise Hay always emphasized. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. You can know everything about emotional healing, But if you don't apply it, it won't change anything in your life. The power is in your hands. Now, you have the complete code. You have the map to get out of the emotional prison where you may have lived for years. You have the key to free yourself from any trauma that is still controlling your life. Louise Hay always ended her lectures with a phrase that changed my life. You were not born to be a victim of your circumstances. You were born to be the creator of your own reality. And your new reality begins the moment you decide you deserve to be happy. Your journey of emotional liberation begins now. You no longer need to carry pains that are not your responsibility to carry. You can forgive yourself for past mistakes. You can forgive those who hurt you. You can choose to write a new chapter of your story where you are the heroine, not the victim. If this message reached you today, it wasn't a coincidence. It was because you were ready to receive this information, to apply these techniques, to transform into the woman you always had the potential to be. Louise Hay left this legacy for you. This emotional liberation technology works regardless of your past, your age, or the severities of your trauma, because the capacity to reinvent yourself is encoded in your spiritual DNA. If you felt this content spoke directly to your soul, if you recognize this as exactly what you needed to hear today, don't let this opportunity pass you by. Subscribe to the channel right now, because you deserve access to more content that will continue to fuel your inner transformation. Your healing can't wait another day. Your happiness can't wait another year. Your emotional freedom can't wait another decade. The time is now. Your new life is starting today. This isn't just about fleeting feelings. It's about a profound, lasting shift, a complete reboot of your inner operating system. Louise Hay's teachings provide the blueprint for this transformation, offering a path towards unshakable self-love and inner peace. Imagine the lightness, the freedom, the joy of living a life unburdened by the weight of the past. It's within your reach. It starts with a decision, a commitment to yourself, to embrace this journey of self-discovery and healing. Embrace the power you already possess, the power to rewrite your story, to become the author of your own life. Don't just watch this video. Let it be the catalyst for the change you've been yearning for. Don't hesitate. Subscribe now and begin your journey to a happier, healthier, more empowered you. Louise Hay's wisdom is your guide. Let her light illuminate your path. Let her teachings unlock the boundless potential within you. This is your invitation, your opportunity to reclaim your life, to truly live. Don't wait. Start today. Start now.